A good Martyr Effigy is like a bus stop. It's located on your route, it's highly visible, and you won't get mugged by imps while you wait. You can also call them summoning pools. They're the little spots throughout the game where you're easily able to find cooperators to help you on tough sections of Elden Ring. But they're not all created equal. There's 157 of these bastards, and somebody has to rank them. And since I just completed a whole pacifist run of Elden Ring where I used co-op summons to make all of my progress in the game, I'm uniquely qualified to be the hero the world needs right now. Plus, I really want to make an Elden Ring ranking video. But what makes one Martyr Effigy better than the next? Well, some can be reused for multiple bosses, and we love that. But we also like ones that are simply in a safe place with nice scenery. Contrast that with the bad ones. These are camouflaged in darkness, with enemies nearby, in dungeons full of lethal traps, where anybody that you summon is going to be really disappointed in you, like a Midwestern mom discovering your stash. I could explain more, but I think examples will do plenty. This is going to be a long video, let's just hit them and see. First, we have two honorable mentions. The Fringe Folk Hero's Grave and Oriza's Side Tomb are the worst of the worst because they simply don't exist. These are the only two dungeons in the entire game that FromSoft decided to short. Do you really need to summon people here anyway? I mean, no, you'll just embarrass yourself dying to chariots in one, and the other one has all those teleporter chests that you'll get lost on. But there are stupider places to summon a friend that still did get effigies, so these two fail for not existing. Now, onto the real list. The bottom of the barrel are effigies with major problems. Many of these simply do not have a boss at all, or they're just placed terribly. It makes more sense to run most of these areas solo. Might come as a surprise, but Redmane Castle is the clear worst effigy in the game. It should be good on paper because it's for a duo boss, but it's miserable in practice. It's nowhere near the fog gate. It's actually backwards from the site of grace, and it's patrolled by a dog and or Knight Artorias depending on how you approach it. Just why? This isn't near any boss. There are some demi-human swarms, but there's not even a chief to go with them. Best I can offer is there's a non-boss rune bear who does a flying body slam, but you shouldn't be fighting that anyway. Witchbane Ruins has no boss and no dungeon, just this one little sphere boy. Pointless. Knight's Sacred Ground Effigy is where co-op goes to die. Not only is there no boss ahead, but the area is a small dead end, which will get really awkward when y'all have to back out. Fringe Folk Hero's Grave died, so this one could live. This effigy is safe, if slightly hidden. Oh, and absolutely useless. No boss ahead, therefore try giving up. And this one comes right after the last one. I feel like Noxtella ran out of dev time and was supposed to have a sweet boss at the top, but without one, this effigy is a bummer. This one is awkward. The Rune Pinata Dragon does not need help to kill it. Maybe if you want help on Fort Faroth, but that also doesn't have a boss. This is a low-scoring outlier, even though it should be fine on paper as the first effigy in the region. And that's because Mogwin Palace is its own multiplayer region, which is so small that it really does not get much co-op traffic. Don't bother until you're closer to the boss. If you've made it here, you have multiple better options down in Shiofra already. It's a very short bossless stretch until the next effigy here. Also, this one is jammed up against the wall, so summon signs actually levitate in the corner. We're taking points off for aesthetics. This one ranks low mostly because there's a much better effigy for Agheel elsewhere. Plus, you will probably aggro some little dudes getting to this. Don't give a cooperator the chance to accidentally or intentionally kill patches for you. It's well lit and easy to find. That's where the niceties end. Chariot dungeons are miserable to co-op, and this one has lava. Has anyone actually summoned people here? You monster. For being so helpfully close to a boss, this one is awful. It's hard to locate, it's far from the grace, and you have to put up with a bunch of this crap on the way. Plus, this nearby Tibia Mariner is a fake boss. Phew. The actively nasty ones are behind us now. Coming up is a streak of mid-dungeon effigies. They're not the first effigy within a dungeon, nor are they the final effigy before the boss, so they technically have no use because they're only useful for resummoning if somebody dies. Worst among them is the second Furumazula effigy. Not only is it barely further than the previous one, but it's patrolled by enemies. Should not exist. This Einsil River midpoint effigy is totally missable depending which path you take. Boo. It's in the corner behind the Grace, and if you've gone this way, you're not reaching a boss anytime soon. There is some nice furniture to smash while you wait though. I didn't even find, much less activate, this Grace and effigy on my last run. The Prison Town Church effigy is much nicer for the boss anyway. Pass. Another Volcano Manor effigy, but it's still not the boss stretch yet, and you have to do flippin' acrobatics to access this one. Nobody wants to come help you kill lava slugs. It's Stormveil's second effigy along the side entrance, and all you faced since the first one is like a couple of birds. It has a lovely view at least. Speaking of birds, you'll have to punch a few falcons to even use this effigy. Farum Azula has effigies packed every 50 yards, and that makes each of them a lot less helpful. It's another Mogwin Palace effigy. This one is closer than the last one, but it's still an unpopular co-op spot. Maybe if you want help slicing this strawberry jelly? If you like hideous wastelands, this effigy has a great view of them. How many Farum Azula effigies do I need to shit on before y'all get the point? Oh, wait. This is the last one? Okay. This one is just pretty desolate out here. Ugly, but calm, like that deflated girl from the weed commercials. They put this one further into Shiofra, like we'll use it for the boss, but the previous one is actually closer to the boss anyway, not to mention way prettier than this. Here's our second Raya Lucaria effigy, but it covers a good long stretch full of enemies. This one's actually not too bad. This one is a good ways through Stormveil, and especially if you're new, somebody has probably died by now for resummoning. Lanedel's second effigy is a good distance from the first, and there's a mini-boss Erdtree avatar nearby as well. We like that. Cool. You made a little progress in the Halig Tree. Have another effigy. There are plenty of enemies here, and they do hit hard, so we're happier than usual with superfluous effigies in the Halig Tree and Elphiel. Speaking of which, Inner Wall. It's your second Elphiel effigy. This one is a wee bit hidden in the grass, though. And here's another. It is rather soon after the previous one. This one could serve as your Godric effigy since it's not far from the boss, though it's officially another midpoint effigy. If you want help for that random ulcerated tree spirit though, this is a winner. Most Martyr effigies from this point on do have one or more bosses, but we're still in major red flag territory. A lot of effigies in this coming batch are patrolled by enemies, or they're hard to find, or they just rub me the wrong way. By far the worst minor Erdtree to summon for, this one is amidst a huge field of those ancestor enemies, and for some reason, the boss will chase you all the way back to the effigy if you approach from the wrong side. It should be good, because it's the first one if you enter Deep Root Depths from this direction, but there's another one so soon without much in between. This one, very similar. It's the first Shiofra effigy, but after breezing past just a couple of claymen, there will already be another. I have beef with many of the Catacomb effigies. FromSoft loves sticking them way too far inward past enemies. This is one such. Gag. You have to pass two extremely annoying Greatsword imps to hit this one, and then it's not even easy to find light gray against a light gray featureless wall. Yet again, two imps harass you on the way in. But hey, if you die and respawn at the stake, then it will be safe. So, tunnels are generally good co-op spots. They're a fair size and usually easy to find the Martyr effigy, but this one is quite a jog from the Grace, and this old pickaxe miner attacks you while you wait. Can you see this Martyr effigy? No? Because no one can. It's not up the hill toward the medallion half, nor toward the bridge and the boss. It's in complete darkness between those two. I guess you could drag somebody a mile from here to multi-purpose this one for a Deathbird or a Night Cavalry if you're desperate. For the love of God, summon people after activating the Delios, not before. If you can avoid that faux pas, it's a straightforwardly beneficial Martyr effigy. This one is probably a little lower out of spite. On paper, this should be a typical small dungeon effigy, but I don't think many people seem to activate this effigy because when I was trying to get help, I had to wait quite a while to find help here. But that didn't stop invaders from queuing up to invade, so anytime I got help, there was always an invader ready to go. I don't like this one. Summoning help for an insta-kill chariot dungeon is poor form. But these chariots can be crashed into each other and eliminated with moderate effort. The boss is a duo of Crucible Knights, whom you'd want co-op for, so this effigy overall gives mixed signals, and I don't need mixed signals. Maybe there's something to say for your cooperator being able to help you find the hidden door to this boss's cellar, but they can't help you find the effigy itself, which is tucked away in some bushes on the outskirts of this ruined-ass ruin. Can this effigy be redeemed, though? Maybe. There's a Knights Cavalry tucked in northeast Liurnia who's not close to any other effigy, so this is your best option to summon help for that. Still sucks. Getting summoned into a poison cave is a bummer. On top of that, this bastard patrols right up to you. No thank you. Hoo boy, this one stinks, and not just because it's in the sewer. This area is a death trap, it's a maze, and they slam you with a multiplayer boundary if you do something as cheeky as try to bring someone to the Lanedale Catacombs, which you can easily do by accident. Awful. Who let their imp off leash? Awkwardly, you have to beat a Black Knife Assassin boss on the outside to even enter this dungeon. Why don't they get a summoning pool? I'll be honest, this one's probably fine. It's just pretty full of traps, so I took off some points because it's not a good location for co-op. This is a bigger dungeon, which is good for co-op. Even some tough enemies besides the boss. But why the heck is this only halfway through the dungeon? Making a player clear the first half alone before they're allowed help sucks. It's hard not to rank this one worse out of spite. You know what? Spite wins. It's one of two for the secret path up to Altus. Like Caria, they actually make you go halfway before giving you this effigy, but it's a lot less difficult. Demi-human queen Maggie is the relevant boss here, and she's a bit of a jog away. But the real problem with this effigy is I can never find it. It's hidden not just around the corner, but fully behind this other building in the wrong direction from the side of Grace. Okay, yes, should be good, right? It's just before Loretta. But the pro summon pool for her is actually upstairs at the Haligtree Town Grace, then just take the elevator shortcut. This one's only useful if you're hard of vision, because this one is truly unmissable. And this one's just awkward. You already had to prove you can do parkour to get inside to it, but there's a lot more parkour they make you go through with your summon before getting to the boss. A misstep from anyone kills the experience. Plus, there are some beefy boys guarding this one. Great news though, that was the last of the stinkers. We're up to the boring middle. These are all solid, salt-of-the-earth effigies. Many of these are very single-purposed, small dungeons or overworld areas where you summon help for one quick boss, then you quietly tuck a $100 tip and your business card in their cleavage and go your separate ways. Starting with a swampy dungeon. Swamps are slightly rude to summon somebody into, and the boss is just a normal enemy. Lower end of meh. Simple short dungeon, single small boss. This dungeon's a little longer, but it has ample places to lethally fall off and ruin your co-op. This is your Erdtree Avatar Martyr Effigy for Caelid. It's tragically close to Limgrave and Summonwater Village, but if you try to bring somebody over there, you will hit a multiplayer boundary first. And if you stand here for more than a couple of seconds, a tree guardian enemy does patrol into you. They just make you walk kinda far to reach this one. Normalize laziness. Totally normal small dungeon here, but it's pretty full of traps, so they give you a lot of chances to embarrass yourself in co-op. Very similar here as well. Same boss even. Game of the year. It's your first effigy on the way into Raya Lucaria. So why is it backwards 30 yards? The short stretch until the next effigy is not even tough, making this one of the worst legacy dungeon first effigies. Nice and chill at the entrance to a medium open dungeon. The nearby tree avatar is a fake boss though, don't get tricked. This dungeon is nasty. If you're bringing someone else into this, you nasty. But for real, you gotta cross deep Scarlet Rotwater to make it to this effigy. At least the boss is a duo. Erdtree time again. This one is pretty susceptible to enemy aggro radii if you don't stealth up to it, so it loses a micro point. If you're impetuous, you'll get hit by a nasty boy on your way to this effigy. But it's easy enough to find, and the duo boss is a great case for co-op. It's another simple small catacomb. This effigy is nice and close. Jail Cave is a bit of a maze, which can be a great place to summon help if your companion knows the way. It's also kind of long. It's right by the Grace, it's impossible to miss. Not an important boss to bring help for, though. It functions well, but it's an insultingly small dungeon to bring somebody for. Friends don't make friends fight Rune Bear. I'll say it again, Poison Caves stink to force on somebody. Plus, a stationary flower is one of the least important bosses to get help for. As far as catacombs go, they're starting to get better. This one comes early, it's visible, there's no danger, and that puts it right around the middle. This is almost an identical layout to the last one. It's another tunnel. We like those for co-op because they're longer than most caves and less convoluted than most catacombs. This one has a nice, safe, early effigy. This one wins the prize for the smallest Grace to effigy distance in the game, just larger than your own wingspan. That's awesome, baby! You spawn staring at it, cozy, and safe. Calling Einsil Riverwell a dungeon is a little loose, but this is the first effigy for this dungeon anyhow. Nothing but a few ants on this stretch. Small, simple dungeon, one boss, ugly location. Next. Also a small dungeon, but this is an early game multi-boss, which makes this a great co-op spot. It's another pleasant tunnel with a high-quality effigy. I thought I said we don't like co-op for chariot dungeons. Wait, there's no chariots in this one? For being a required boss's effigy, this one ranks so low because do you really need help on Ofnir? Also, I'm salty this is the first Ashen Capital effigy and it's quite far in. This one comes in probably the first small dungeon you find, so it's nice to familiarize yourself with where you can expect to find these. joke of a boss though. This one is for a weird small dungeon with a duo boss, albeit a pretty manageable one since half of it is a flower. Super mid. It's hard to miss the effigy, but if you make any noise, these perfumers are close enough to aggro. A duo boss makes this effigy more valuable, but these enemies blocking it take it back down again. But hey, it's all about how many times you get back up, right? Hey, does this cave even have an effigy? Oh, okay. It's cozy, and the icicles are really fun to break while you wait. Similarly, another cozy tunnel effigy with some good, crunchy rolling material. Textbook small cave, easy effigy, and a multi-boss for extra points. This one is far away from the grace to panic that there isn't one, but impossible to miss because it's down this long, straight intestine tunnel. It's a small dungeon with a duo boss, and one of the closest grace to effigy distances in the game. It's bueno. There are a couple Martyr Effigies like this that are hyper-specific to one single nearby boss. They know exactly what they're made for. This is the one-night stand of Martyr Effigies. That said, it's not the intended purpose, but you can drag someone from here to take out a knight's cavalry easily as well. This one for an Erdtree avatar can pull in guardians if you're not careful on the approach. It's not very easy to spot either. It's a mine tunnel, one of the tougher ones, and this boss is no pushover. I've praised some effigies that were close to the grace. This one might be the farthest from a site of grace in the whole game. Invisible floor dungeons are good things to have a partner for who might know the way, but you won't need help fighting a mimic tier. You spawn in looking right at this one, otherwise very boring atmosphere. This cave has no character. It's highly findable and chill inside this little rotunda. Also, it's funny to not help during mimic tier and watch your cooperators defeat you. For a Remembrance boss, this is actually really far away from it. I feel like the earlier Raya Lucaria effigies are a little close together, and this one is a little extra large. Regardless, important one for Renala. Overall, it's fine. It's refreshingly early and non-risky for a Catacomb effigy. Boss is not some pushover either. Upper end of the Catacomb set. O'Neill is a multi-enemy boss, and if you don't cheese him, I imagine help is very welcome for that. The effigy is placed well and could theoretically pull double duty on the Kaled Deathrite bird. Easy enough to find. It is a sensory overload climbing this dusty hillside full of lightning and albinurics. If you manage to find this effigy, it is well placed for the boss. Like many of the dragon bosses, this bastard wanders up and ruins the effigy occasionally. At least there is an excellent 360 view while you wait for him to back off. It's right along the road, and it's safe from ads, which cannot be said for many of the minor Erdtree effigies. Here's another one of those hyper-specific effigies designed for one boss in a cellar. Thing is, this one isn't very close to the cellar, and you have to sneak around some fire chariots on the way. At least it is a duo boss. It's a tunnel, it's a duo boss, lot to like. This one is Baby's first Martyr Effigy, with a tough boss. But this one is screwy. Since it's the start of the game, I often ran into foul play here with AFK PvP farmers or whatever. This should be a great one, but it's problematic. You do have to walk weird to reach this boss without a horse, but this is one of those good standard single boss effigies. Plus, you get to wait in a puddle of skim milk. It's another one of those goofy, hyper-specific effigies for one boss in a basement. It's not even a tough boss. This one gets a solid "why?" is what I would say. Except this actually pulls double duty on the worm face who lives at the nearby Erdtree. Double duty effigies are great. Stinky Moog is a big boss, fun to co-op on, and this effigy is placed well for that. Next. This effigy is by this big ol' tree, which is a lot of fun to try jumping up while you wait. Just please be a good person and lift the swamp platforms before summoning help. It is a perfectly placed Erdtree avatar effigy, safe from ads. This area feels spooky, but it's actually very safe, and the effigy is located on the short path between Grace and Boss. Good one. This one has good and bad. It's the better of the two Agheel effigies, and it's great for a Knight's Cavalry too. But Agheel does wander right up to it sometimes, and this asshole dragonfly harasses you too. We're out of the middle now. These are the effigies that are good with a capital G. These ones cover big, tough bosses. Lots of them can be reused for multiple bosses, and we'll start getting those first effigy in a long dungeon effigies, where summoning a good partner can take you through the whole dungeon and boss, and be really rewarding to play together with someone. First is the disposable, single-use Draconic effigy. It's just right there by the boss. Fun fact, this one disappears once the capital turns ashen, even though it's safe outside. It's your effigy for Radon. It's on the lower end for Shardbearer effigies, since no one needs to summon co-op help here with all the other NPC summons available. It's the Moog Effigy, and this should be a slam dunk, except the small region means people spend less time here, so you'll actually have to wait for summon signs, which is otherwise almost never true. Hey, the first effigy for a dragon where the boss doesn't just wander over to it and ruin your summoning. This is, unfortunately, your Astel effigy. It's rather far and hard to see. The ledge is a nice chill oasis amidst the surrounding hell, though. Like the other midway Farum Azula effigies, way too close to the last one. Alas, this is the one just before Godskin Duo, so it's a lot more important than those. This one is neat because it's very much within the boss's arena, allowing you to re-summon mid-fight if someone accidentally beefs it. And as a very stupid upside, this one is your best bet if you're trying to bring someone to Lanceax as well. Normal small dungeon effigy, but it actually serves 2 different boss fog gates. All in all, pretty good mileage for a catacomb effigy. And like the last one, it's another small dungeon with a surprise second fog gate. Multiple uses put these much higher than the other small dungeon effigies. Grail will wander so close he ruins the effigy, or so far your buffs will run out by the time you engage. But this effigy is nicely right next to the Grace, and it can pull double duty on that Knight's Cav if you're not cheesing it. Good effigy. This one is for Smaragd, but it's out in the open and kind of hard to locate because it's dark. There's a little bush to hide that you won't need since Smaragd is just sleeping though. Insanely, this is actually the best effigy for 1 or 2 of the Liurnia overworld bosses as well if you drag your unlucky cooperator cross-country. It's the final Farum Azula effigy, and it puts on double duty for Placidusax and Malekith. Just beware, going Malekith first shuts off summon pools for the area. Yeah, this tricked me, and I'm mad. Right by the Grace, right before the boss. Rykard. This one is slightly awkward because there is some pressure on your partner to come equipped with a Serpent Hunter. It is hard to find this one, light gray on light gray and with the snow effects, but your payoff is 2 tougher bosses, so it is worth finding. No, the upcoming boss is not tough, but this is one of those rare, medium-sized dungeons that are the perfect length for co-op. You really get to tell a story together as you work with your partner through Castle Morn. Only problem, why is it at the top of the lift? Same story here. A good co-op partner can really make this dungeon very fun. It's not as easy to find the Grace and effigy with this one, but the boss is tougher. Fine. It's the first effigy in Crumbling Farum Azula. All of the effigies and graces in this dungeon are packed weirdly close, so this is on the lower end of the legacy dungeon entry points. This looks like an Erdtree Avatar effigy, but that boss has gone missing. It's actually just for a Deathbird. You can drag help to Margit, but he's a fake boss. Be careful. This one is your effigy for Red Wolf of Radagon in Raya Lucaria. Extra points because you really want a partner for that room of sorcerers on the way in, too. It's Godric time! Why did they stick the effigy so deep into this room, though? Did they really need to force you to walk back 50 yards and hook around just to walk up and challenge the fire giant from here? Did they? Easy to find, safe, and a big remembrance boss? Or a copy of one anyway, put this one high as far as small dungeon effigies go. Heck, this beat regular Astel's effigy by a long shot. This is the 3rd or 4th in Lanedale, depending how you count, and it's finally time for a boss. Not the easiest to find, though. Makar is a legit boss, and this effigy is placed respectfully close to both the Grace and the Fog. You just defeated Godskin Duo. Congratulations! This is your chance to reboot co-op for the next stretch of the dungeon. Cozy and visible. This one defies gravity a little bit, so points off for aesthetics. I worry cooperators might breathe on their joystick wrong after summoning and yeet themselves off. It is the first effigy in a tough new dungeon though, and we like those. This one is Stormveil's first Martyr Effigy if you go the safe way. Only problem is, it's not that easy to find. And this is Lanedale's first. Get ready for an invasion heavy area if you summon. It's on the critical path and easy to spot. And we have Elphael's first effigy here too. The difficulty of Elphael places this one near the top of the dungeon first effigies. This Martyr effigy has something in common with Volcano Manor. It serves both as your doing the dungeon effigy and your doing the boss effigy. It's very pretty too. The high enemy count and remembrance boss makes this one a great co-op area. The effigy is safe and visible if you found the Side of Grace. This is the Martyr effigy she told you not to worry about. There is one closer to Loretta, but this one is right by the Grace, so smart players will summon here and then ride the elevator shortcut down to challenge Loretta. It's really hard to see in the dark though. It's for a big late game remembrance boss. Not much more to say here. Ditto. Alright y'all, we're down to our 10 best Martyr Effigies in Elden Ring. These ones are iconic. They're for some of the toughest bosses in the game, and some of them just effortlessly cover multiple bosses without pain. Number 10. Both because it's a duo and a deeps race, this boss benefits greatly from co-op, and there's a little dungeon to do on the way too. It's really hard to jump on top of this one though. Number 9. It's the final boss effigy. It's kind of cozy in here too. What else could you ask for? Number 8. This is the last and best of those medium-sized dungeon effigies that I'm so excited about. Castle Souls ranks so highly because the boss is quite tough and has adds, which makes it a great candidate for co-op. Number 7. I love that this effigy serves both as your entry point for the main dungeon and direct boss access for Godskin Noble once you open the shortcut. A rare Dark Souls 1 style level design. Elegant. Number 6. The effigy that birthed the legend of Let Me Solo Her and various boss-slaying copycats. I mean, yeah, you want help here. It's iconic. Number 5. Exyx is not a pushover, and this effigy serves triple duty on a Knight's Cavalry and a Deathrite bird with just a short jog. That's a good-ass effigy. Number 4. It's right by a Tibia Mariner, and that's great. This is the only Tibia Mariner with an effigy, actually, but there's so much more to it. Due to awkward distribution in Altus, this is the effigy to use if you want co-op help on any of Queen Gillica, a Knight's Cavalry, a Falling Star Beast, or the duo Tree Sentinels. Just don't wander while people spawn in, literally just jumping up is enough to trigger the Tibia Mariner boss. Number 3. It's not flashy, but the Forbidden Lands is a small area with 2 bosses, both served by this effigy. That's value, baby. Not the easiest one to see, but nothing is here. Number 2. Margit is the first big cutscene boss in the game. Everyone wants help here. This is going to be the first time a lot of players bother interacting with the summon pool, and it's iconic. Leading us to our number 1 Martyr Effigy. It's simple but excellent. The Across the Roots effigy is right by the Grace and the boss arena, and it serves both Fia's Champions, which is a multi-boss good for co-op, and Fortisax, who is a flashy remembrance boss. Martyr effigies cannot get better than this. That's all 157 Martyr Effigies ranked. It turned out as I made this, I felt pretty strongly about the bottom 20-ish and the top 20-ish, and probably could have shuffled around most of the middle. I've really been wanting to make an Elden Ring ranking video of some sort since it came out, and while this video concept is frankly goofy, I realized I did have a lot of opinions on Martyr Effigy placements as I went through my co-op only pacifist run, so I thought this would be a fun way to share. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I am grateful to every single one of you who interacts with my content, whether it's a like or a comment or a sub. Speaking of subs, I have more Souls content in the pipeline if you want to be notified when that comes out. I also have to make something for Remnant 2 before Lies of P takes over my life in a few weeks. That's it. Thanks, y'all. Mothy out.